Welcome, I'm Petra. We're going to talk about divine timing, waiting for twin flame union, madness or wisdom, and astrology. Because astrology is really something that a lot of people use to talk about divine timing, because one day, one moment when the stars literally align, then my twin flame union may occur, and that is a great hang up for the idea of divine timing, is what I believe that people think. So I wanted to address that today, and every time I make a video, I'm trying to say something about well-known twin flame questions from someone that has arrived, and how I would sort of look at it right now, which I think is an interesting viewpoint. So this is a point of view video, clearly. So let's get into it. It's madness because you are passively remaining in magical thinking instead of taking action in what you do have control over, and starting the inner work to break through your own inner boundaries towards twin flame union. That is the first way of seeing it. Waiting for your twin flame union and saying that it is called divine timing is really madness, because you are believing that you need to passively remain seated, so-called, and do nothing, because one time, one day, one moment, the lightning will strike and the stars will align, and there it is, and you have done absolutely nothing, but here it is. And yeah, that is just not really how it works, because there are a lot of things on this journey you do have control over, and you can start to do those things. You can start to do the inner work. You can start to do it with the right tool. The core tool that we advise here is called Key, and you can study it and do it in our Facebook group, our online community, and to which you are cordially invited. I leave the link to that group below. Just click it and then you will see where it is. You ask to join. I will make you join and welcome you and show you around our material, what we have there, so that you can know what the inner work could be and how to start it up and what the tools are, etc. So I would be really glad to help you out just like that in our community. So what could you do more than that? Taking action in things you do have control over. Well, you can start to invest in yourself. You can start to say the decree. You can start to be coached. You can start to invest time in your development, your spiritual development, in a spiritual development place that has the twin flame integrated in it. You can do so many things. In other words, you can make sure that you go to a place and a community that has the right vibe of the harmonious union state of being that you actually want to go to. That's what you want to do when you want to be with a twin flame. You want to be in a harmonious union. You can have control over if you go to the right place for that. Is that teacher having that? Do they have the actual inner connection with that divine twin flame source place where everything comes from, so that they can pass it on? Do they have that vibration indeed? Do they have had the initiation from the divine to be this twin flame teacher? Or do they actually not have all these things? They're just talking about this topic, but for the rest, they're not actually in that harmonious union place themselves. So you can do a lot about making sure you go to a community where that is correctly arranged, where that is present. So many things you can take action on, right? So what you can do is, with all these right choices, start to do the inner work to break through your inner boundaries towards twin flame union with all these right, taking the time, doing investments, having the right tools, going to the right community, etc., etc. You can really, in the silence of yourself, your core, your meditation, in your inner work, you can start to go through those boundaries that you have towards your own union. Because you are not in your union right now. That's why you think that you have to wait for divine timing. But that just means that you can take your intimate moment with yourself to break through your barriers that you have between you and your union. And that is what you can do really in silence with yourself. That is the process that you can allow yourself to do. And in that process, there is active and passive both a little bit. It's really about the inner work of doing the actual breakthrough of your blocks towards your union. That can be done. You don't need to passively wait for some sort of magical divine timing to descend upon you, because that magical timing feeling will take place when you have broken through your boundaries towards your own union. And I know you can, and you're very welcome if you feel like it to do that with us. That's why I'm here. Divine timing, it is wisdom, because it does contain a certain amount of surrender, and that is correct. But you're not surrendering into a promising void outside of yourself, but into your core self inside of yourself, which means ultimately into the divine. So yes, divine timing and waiting for your twin flame union can, in a certain sense, be wisdom, contradictorily to what I just said. Because it does sound like surrender. It does sound like you are somehow a little bit understanding when you would say something about that divine timing thing. You are somehow a little bit understanding that there is some sort of a release to the universe feeling. There is this some sort of surrender into divine kind of feeling that is necessary. And that is true. That is part of what is needed to come into union and into the state of being of harmonious union that you actually want to go to. Trust me. Which I probably would need to make an additional video about to just talk about that. Let's keep that in mind. So it's true. It's about a surrender. But that surrender needs to be given into sort of your inner core and then integrate into your being. And that is part of the inner work that you're going to do to break through to your union. And it's not a surrender to, well, I don't know, just God, throw it on me when it's there, because that's a little bit, that's a sort of a victimhood. Now you're expecting something outside of you to throw it onto you. But the real surrender is inside of you. You surrender the core of yourself so that your core can be transformed and healed into the version that will sprout from within itself, the twin flame union. That's what the surrender is supposed to be about. So that may be good to know. And you can direct that surrender in the correct way and know that that is indeed pretty much that feeling that people mean with divine timing, but then in the correct way. What about astrological alignment? They are lessons to overcome, but not touches of a magic wand that will make that now you've suddenly done the inner work that will bring you union. Trust that the stars already align in this time we live in right now for you to be able to make this age-old promise come true when you follow the actual tools and energy flow. Yeah, I like that. Astrological alignments, you can feel them. I can feel them. They are penetrating our lives, and you're subject to it. You cannot help it but be inside of it in its results. And you can learn lessons through it. And it's beautiful because everyone goes through it in a certain sense, even though people may be not consciously aware of it. Because it's so, the stars are so ingrained in who we are part of that universe. But it's not that those stars and planets are tomorrow in a certain sign, at a certain place, at a certain time. And these planets also come very close and are in alignment in such a way that it means something. And it ultimately means that you are going to be in twin flame union tomorrow at 2:00. That is not what that is. You can take it as a lesson that you can take in as inner work, and then you go deeper. And if you do that in the right way, you will be closer to your twin flame union, isn't it? Because everything mirrors something to you, and you can learn a lesson from that. And that is actually quite stark with astrological alignments because they are so omnipresent, they are so ingrained, they are so deeply touching. But that does not mean that you can read there that tomorrow at 2:00 you are in twin flame union. It's not a magic wand that promises you, that predicts for you that on October 5th at 5:00 things will fall into place. You go through the lessons of that astrological alignment for sure. And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper until you individually are witness of that you've aligned so much that you are with your true twin flame in harmonious union, that state of being. There is no astrological alignment that is for 7 billion people or however many we are the same for their twin flame and meeting them or being in union with them. So that's not really going to work out. People do their inner work that is relevant for their twin flame journey on their own time. There is a lot you can do. You've got this in your hands. And one thing you can do is come work with the material we've created for you in our community. I would love that for you. I've created multiple things over the past years. Actually, the last decade, I've created a lot of material after a 30-year twin flame journey. And this material consists of meditations, of an inner work tool that is incredibly simple but profound in 4 steps. You go deeper. There is an entire starter kit for you that you can ask. And it will contain a letter to you with specific messages and ideas. And it will contain an 11-day course of manifesting whatever you desire, actually, and specifically also your true twin flame. I made all these tools and things so that you can use them and so that you don't need to wait as a sort of a victim on divine timing, but so that you can have something in your hands concrete enough to grasp and spiritual enough that it is relevant to specifically the ultimate success in your twin flame journey. I wanted to make this for you and bring this to you so that you have something concrete to hold on to while you make all your very intimate and vulnerable transformation phases through that will bring you there. I also wanted to create a safe environment, and that also took a long time. The last 3 years, I have done a lot of inner work and outer work to create and establish the right boundaries for this safety for you. And I believe this really worked. Last calendar year in 2022, we were able to bring 1, 2, and start of this calendar year, 3, 4 people very close to their true twin flame and their union. And one of them made like the arrival also, but that was the beginning of this year, 2023. And with doing that in the enclosing of our community, I sort of could conclude that development process was complete, so that we have the full emotional, spiritual safety for you to able to do that there with us. So you are cordially invited, if you feel for it, to come and join us. Of course, you're already here, and I hope you stick around, hit subscribe, and this is also part of that, of course, here on YouTube. The architecture of what twin flames are, in fact, promises that you do have all the power in your own hands, because they are you. So when you are ready, they are. And when you move towards union, they are too. That's where you meet. So I find this topic of divine timing really peculiar, because you don't wait for divine timing, because when it's about twin flames, the whole thing of twin flames is that they are you. So if you become ready, they become ready. And that's literally so. This is also what I have experienced. And that, for instance, my client that went all the way and arrived in harmonious twin flame union, she also experienced that the moment she was ready, he was too. The moment she was there and broke through her inner blocks towards her union to an enough degree, he was there too. And he did like her, and she did like him. And that enormous volcanic eruption of divine love did take place there, which made it incredibly clear that it was happening there. And it wasn't for long that they were in harmonious union. So yeah, that moment of the core harmonizing of your being, from which the physical building can start in a very harmonious way. So it is where you meet, that place, and you do have it completely in your own hands, because they are you. When you are ready, you have in your own hands your process and your opening towards the coming into being of the readiness, the spiritual readiness, and then they will also be there. And then that you could call divine timing. Who knows? So I hope this was helpful. Let me know your thoughts about if this helped you, or yeah, How do you stand in divine timing? Let me know in the description box below. I'm very curious. And I will see you in another video. Bye.